I'm talking today about sacred service, right? The power of sacred service. And we have been blessed with that sacred service right here, right now in this room, right? Jeannie Skybrook, Cindy Hall, and then Melanie Carter just jumping in. That is sacred service, right? The Prayer Chaplains who you see here and those who we're holding in consciousness because they couldn't physically be here today are committed to a life of sacred service. And what exactly does it mean to be in service? So, sacred service is a sacred mirror for us. It provides us with an opportunity to be able to see what is being reflected back to us. And when we're stepping into sacred service, that mirror that we're stepping into is this opportunity to see the Christ nature in everyone around us. Sometimes that's easier than other times, yes? And I'm going to be talking more about this during the Quantum Living in August when we're running the Quantum Living class. I'm going to be talking more about the challenges of that sacred mirror, because that sacred mirror works all the time. It doesn't just work when we show up as our best, shiniest self. That sacred mirror is working whenever we're showing up, right? But when we are consciously choosing to step into sacred service, we are answering a call that is from that awareness of the divinity that everyone is, and that we are acknowledging that divinity. We are acknowledging the wholeness of the person who we are interacting with, or the community that we are standing with. And as we anchor that Christ nature, beautiful things happen. Look around at this sanctuary. This sanctuary arose because 20 years ago, a group of people showed up in sacred service. A group of people showed up not just for themselves, not just for what would serve them, because yes, it absolutely did serve them, but it is serving us now. There was an awareness of legacy. There was an awareness of what is, who is coming after. And that's a big component of what sacred service is that we're anchored in a larger picture, a larger consciousness of what is actually happening. Now, I know from my own experience and from talking with people that very often what happens around the idea of showing up in sacred service is that we get totally freaked out and we're like, me? Me? Little old me? What do I have to offer to the world? No, not me. I'm too messed up. I'm too broken. I'm too wounded. I'm too whatever. And I have this image of this broken Buddha figure, because this is often how we see ourselves. We understand that there is a divinity within us, but we somehow think that we are broken in that because our humanness dominates our understanding. And what I want to invite us all into is this kind of awareness of who we are. I hope my wife moved the slide forward. That in our brokenness is actually where our light can shine forth in a way that is uniquely ours, in a way that allows us to show up in perfect time, in perfect order, in a way that we never could have anticipated. This idea that we somehow have to be perfect before we can show up. And I've talked about this before when I've talked about grit, that we're looking to consciously shift our focus away from perfection to the process and the commitment of evolving excellence. So if we are actually standing in our capacity to grow in our excellence, then part of what we bring and what we offer are those places and that spaces that maybe have been rubbed a little raw. And it is actually when we show up with those spaces held in a field of wholeness, right? Is everyone with me? Are we understanding that I'm saying that we don't pretend that we don't necessarily have some wounds, but we don't think that those wounds have broken us? What we acknowledge is that those wounds have actually made us stronger. Those wounds have actually created a space for us to show up, as Faith sings in the song, called to be compassion. It is through those spaces that we actually show up in sacred service. Sacred service is actually the spiritual practice of oneness. We talk about this a lot here in Unity, about oneness. I call it the prime principle, that there is only one power and one presence. And if we could actually just remember that, we wouldn't need any of the other spiritual practices that we do. But it's really hard for us to not get caught up in that human experience, so that those wounds become front and center. And in that process, what are you hiding? What are you not sharing? What are you cutting yourself and the world off from because you think you don't have something to offer? Because you think that somehow you are the exception. Everyone else is made in the image and likeness. But you personally, somehow you missed out on the God train. You didn't get enough God dust sprinkled on you when you were born or something. And those kinds of false beliefs are what stop us from showing up in the world. They are the thing that keeps us from actually radiating the light that we are. Now, we have a tremendous history here at Unity in Marin of service. We have a facilities team. Can I just lift the facilities team high? We have a facilities team that is just unreal. Have you guys been out in the courtyard? Have you seen how beautiful that courtyard looks? Have you seen how the parking lots are nice and smooth? That is a group of dedicated people who are showing up again and again and again and again and saying, how can I be of service? What is going to be of service right now? And the piece around being of service is that ultimately, when we're truly in service, when we are showing up with the oneness, when we are showing up in the awareness that we're not here to fix or to help, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but when we are showing up in the oneness, then truly, like what I teach in Absolute Abundance for those who have taken that class, giving is receiving. That as we show up from that place of being in service to the mystery, to the presence, to something larger than ourselves, that actually we are receiving the entire time. Sacred service does not drain you. If you are feeling drained, it means you're not actually anchoring yourself in sacred service. You're anchoring yourself in something else. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. All right? So the consciousness that we are anchored, remember I said it's something larger than ourself that we're holding. It's larger than what's right in front of us. So I have some examples of all the different teams and the consciousness that those teams are actually holding. And I will say this too, post-COVID, we are desperately in need of people to serve. I understand we are all been reassessing and realigning with what it is that is ours to do. COVID gave us this magnificent sort of blank slate. And I want to offer to all of you that this is one of the most powerful spiritual practices that you can engage with. That when you step into something from an activity, it's an activity that you're doing, but it's a consciousness that you're cultivating. And when you operate from the consciousness that you're cultivating, that means that you are resourced and renewed. Now, I don't have the facilities team on here because I don't know why I don't, but I did call them out. So, but I'm going to start with them because what the facilities team anchors is beauty and order. They are making sure that our space is safe. They are making sure that people can come on campus and they can actually walk our meditation garden without tripping and falling. Right? They're making sure that everything is beautiful. The couples that come here to get married are just blown away by the beauty of our campus. So the facilities team is anchoring that for all of us. Isn't that awesome? Right? They're holding that for all of us. So ushers and greeters, they are anchoring the welcoming spirit that we are. They are anchoring the open-heartedness, the inclusiveness that Unity in Marin is. They are the beacon. They're not just saying good morning to people. That's the behavior. What they are standing in is, we are so glad you're here, right? Welcome into our space. Hospitality is all about connection and community. We felt that at the barbecue, yes? That was an opportunity for people to connect in new ways, to have conversation. Food, you guys, food is so important. Really is. Communities that eat together thrive together, and that's really true. So that is the consciousness that hospitality is holding. It's not that they're just, feeding people. It's not just about the activity. There's a larger consciousness at work, which is about facilitating community connection. The platform assistants, right? They are all about supporting the order and the flow of service. They are there to facilitate a smooth experience for everyone, ministers included, right? They are there to be this support system. The fundraising team, right? What they are anchoring for the entire community is abundance and prosperity. That is what they are anchoring. Youth and family, that's all possibility and play and creativity. That is the consciousness that they are bringing into our space. And the prayer chaplains, who we're going to be installing in just a few minutes, they are anchoring for this entire community healing and wholeness. That is what they are holding on a regular basis. That is what they have committed themselves to, is not just holding healing and wholeness for themselves or their close friends, but to hold that consciousness for the entire community. And then we have the board, that fabulous board who has got, let's give them some love, please, right? And the board is anchoring vision and strategy. The board is anchoring in consciousness, not the day-to-day. It's not about the activity itself. It's about the consciousness behind it. And when we are operating from the consciousness behind it, then we are actually engaged in sacred service. So as you look at what's up here, you have some options. If there are things that you're like, oh, that's me. Oh, I love order. I want to be on the facilities team, right? Or I want to be part of platform assistance because that's me. That's awesome. Come, please, let us know. But if there's something in your life you want to cultivate, if there is some aspect in your personal world that you want to grow into more fully, this is the perfect place for you to do it. This is the perfect place for you to grow into your leading edge. I got to tell you, when I started doing prayer and became like a prayer person, I was a mess, you guys. I was emotionally a wreck. I was an absolute mess. But I didn't have the healing yet. I didn't quite understand wholeness yet. But you know what? I knew that I wanted to cultivate that. And so I followed that prayer thread because that was important to me. And that became something that I then cultivated within myself. So sacred service is a place where you can shine your gifts and talents that you already have, but it's also a place where you get to grow into the gifts and talents that you may not know, fully trust, are actually yours. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between serving and helping, because there's a lot of confusion out there around the difference between serving, helping, and fixing. So I'm going to read you This was excerpt, Rachel Naomi Remen, who really has some wonderful material out there. She wrote this a while ago. She wrote a whole thing in Service of Life, where she really breaks down the difference between serving, helping, and fixing. And you're going to hear me bring it up again and again and again over the coming years, because it really is vital. And someone, it's anonymous, but someone took pieces of what that article says and sort of put it into a short poem. It's called Fixer. A fixer has the illusion of being causal. A server knows they are being used in the service of something greater, essentially unknown. We fix something specific. We serve always that something, wholeness and the mystery of life. Fixing and helping are the work of the ego. Serving is the work of the soul. When you help, you see life as weak. When you fix, you see life as broken. When you serve, you see life as whole. Fixing and helping may cure. Service heals. When I help, I feel satisfaction. When I serve, I feel gratitude. Fixing is a form of judgment. Serving is a form of connection. Can you feel the difference in this? Because when we come with the best of intentions, right? So don't go trying to think you need to fix yourself here, right? Don't be judging yourself here. So we come with the best of intentions, but if we are thinking that we are supposed to help someone, the implication there is that they can't do it themselves. That somehow I have something that they don't have. And that is not what we believe in unity. What we know and believe in unity is that each of us is the divinity that we are, and that available and accessible within each of us is the wholeness, is the capacity, is everything we need. We already have it. It is about revealing that in time and in space. Fixing implies that there's a problem. And when we are problem-focused, that means we are worry-focused, which means we are anxiety-focused. They feed each other. And when we are problem-focused, guess what? Are we always going to be able to find another problem? Pretty much guaranteed, right? So when we're operating from a problem mindset, we are caught in a loop where we think that everything is broken. And our ego, gotta love our ego, thinks I'm the one who can make it all okay. Service implies that there is nothing broken. There is nothing that any of us do not have, and that we are being invited to show up as that wholeness, in that sacred mirror, seeing the divinity that the other person is, honoring the divinity that the other person is, holding ourselves and them in compassion, as we are all literally doing the best that we can. We are all doing the best that we can. Even those people that we're like, what are they doing? They are doing the best that they can in that moment. So can we be in service to their wholeness rather than falling into the narrative and the story that they are broken? Or that something needs to be fixed. Because when we are focused on wholeness, then we can be creative when challenges arise, but we're holding that larger picture. We're holding that consciousness of order. We're holding that consciousness of beauty. We're holding that. We're an anchor for that in our own lives and for the world. Service is inviting us to say that everything I do is sanctified. Everything I do is holy. Everything I do, the prayers that I have with other people, showing up for the very, very sometimes long facilities team meeting. Can we sanctify that? Can we call it something holy? Can we always keep supporting for ourselves and for those that we're interacting with that there is something larger at work here, and that is what we are all in service to? Because if we're holding that space of sanctifying and recognizing the holiness that is right now, that is where possibilities arise. That's where we break past what we think we already know. That's how we transform and evolve and grow into that beautiful image that I showed you of the broken, open, but perfectly poised, centered, awake, and aware image. This is what we're all being invited to. Now, the Unity in Marin Prayer Chaplains have said yes to a very, very, very beautiful call. I hope I can get through this without crying, because prayer, as you all know, is such a central part of my life. And to see people stepping out and stepping into this space is just, it makes my heart sing. So I'm going to invite the prayer chaplains, while I keep talking, to come on up there on the platform. So each year, the prayer chaplains come together. They do a retreat. People who are interested in becoming a prayer chaplain are invited to come. You don't have to be interested in becoming a prayer chaplain to come on this retreat. It is open to anyone. And in that retreat, we dive into the prayer consciousness. And for some people, there's a call that gets awakened, a call to be that healing arm that is Unity in Marin. So today, we have some seasoned prayer chaplains that are returning, and we have one new light. Right? So our seasoned prayer chaplains, look at you guys, you look so beautiful up there. So our seasoned prayer chaplains, and just so you can put faces to names, right? We have Bonnie Abbey, we have Lucille Allison, we have Carol Gus Bostic, who is not here. We do have a picture of her coming up at some point. Ina Brennan, who is also not here. We have Barbara Cedarblade. And as I introduce Barbara, I just want to lift her up. Barbara has been the prayer chaplain, one of the prayer chaplain co-leaders for how long? 3 years, right? And she is stepping down this year. And so we're just standing in gratitude for her answering that call. We have Yvette Connor, who has answered the call to step into co-leadership, the spot that was opened when Barbara stepped back. Yvette stepped in. We have Gloria Cunha, who is also not here with us today. Some of our team is with Cindy Acker doing their performance, right? Which we're sending them lots of love. Elizabeth Drew, who has been the co-leader and is continuing to be the co-leader. She has answered that call. She is also not here with us today, but we're going to send her lots of love. We have Claire Grinzel, we have Wendy Miley, and we have Kathleen O'D. All right, this is the incoming prayer chaplains. And now we come to our new light. So our new light is Monica Walsh. And this is part of an expanding consciousness, right? Monica brings such a depth of experience. She truly is a light. And I can't wait for all of you to get to know her within the framework of the prayer consciousness that she brings and that she cultivates. Each one of these prayer chaplains has a unique and magnificent voice. And so I'm going to invite the whole community to just sample it all. Right? Sample it all. They are available after service every Sunday. Go and pick a different prayer chaplain every Sunday, right? Hear those unique, beautiful ways that they show up in consciousness and explore and just have fun with it. All right, so now we are going to take some vows, right? And through the vows that are about to be taken, and the blessings that are going to be bestowed, each one has volunteered to be a light of love in the world and to be a spiritual partner with Unity in Marin. They have said yes to being an anchor of truth, and where truth is revealed, wholeness is restored and consciousness expands through their commitment to unity principles, affirmative prayer, and their willingness to be of service. They have said yes to being a place of steadfastness for this community as they answer the call to serve. You, all of you, are the healing arm of Unity in Marin. Here we go. Here come the tears, you guys. And as you come to this holy moment and take these vows, may you hold in your heart these words from Luke 11:12. Don't worry how you'll respond, and don't worry what you should say. The Holy Spirit will give you the words to say at the moment when you need them. The Holy Spirit is you. As the I am that you are, and as the I am, you will always have access to exactly what is yours to say and do. So I'm going to read these vows, and the prayer chaplains are going to respond with an I do. And we're expanding our consciousness to hold the 4 prayer chaplains that are in the picture above us. Do you dedicate yourself to an ever-deepening spiritual practice where you may know and live into an expanded awareness of the I am that we all are? Do you dedicate yourself to behold the divinity in all people? Look out at them. To anchor and see the oneness that we all are, and to the best of your ability, know that oneness in the face of all circumstances and conditions? Do you answer this calling with dignity, integrity, and sincere commitment? Do you support Unity in Marin and its mission? Will you commit to authenticity, being the expression of love and support for each other, and to live an awakened and enlightened life? Do you support the mission of the Unity in Marin Prayer Chaplains to be a beneficial presence on this planet through the power of affirmative prayer? I do. It is my honor to install you to the Unity in Marin Prayer Chaplains. Your service to this community is a blessing to the world. And I'm going to invite Monica to come forward, and Tim. So you'll notice that all of the prayer chaplains already have their stoles, but Monica doesn't. So Monica, as this stole is placed around your shoulders, we know here at Unity in Marin that you bring with you a consciousness that is so grounded in love, that is anchored in universal spiritual principles, with a voice that is so much joy. We are so blessed to have you as a new light in the Unity in Marin Prayer Chaplains. Welcome. So Tim is going to do a blessing, and I do just want to say that this year it happens to be a fabulous team of warrior women. That is not always the case, though. So if there are any men out there interested in being a prayer chaplain, know that it rotates through, right?
Or gender neutral.
Or gender neutral, that's right.
Yes. So I wanted the privilege, and pardon me as I turn my back, to... That's right.
A flower has no back, Pamela said.
So I wanted the opportunity to bless you all. You help to hold the consciousness, the spirit of this sacred community. Everyone here does. And you, in a very intentional and trained and committed way, have committed yourselves to this. There's nothing closer to my heart or to the heart of Unity Ministry than the work of prayer consciousness. And you embody that. You have prayed with me. You have prayed with each of us when we recognized that we were experiencing challenges or wanted someone to pray with us in gratitude. You have been there. You have been present. You are the light of God. And when I am in the light of God, I'm overcome with love, gratitude, and joy. And so I bless each and every one of our prayer chaplains, those of you who are watching online as well, knowing that you are the presence of God, reminding us that we are the presence of God, reminding us of the truth of our being. Not there to fix, not there to be a helper, but there to serve and to be the presence and to help remind us of our presence. I invite all of our congregation, if you would stand and extend your hands, and we have a blessing that we will all say together. And if you would all say this together to lovingly bless our prayer chaplains. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ as you. We love you.